A betrayed hunter is sent back in time to his high school days, exactly 2.5 years before a colossal dragon destroys his entire city. But when he awakens, he is branded a useless dual F-rank crafter, becoming the biggest joke in his academy. To survive the coming apocalypse and avoid being enslaved again, he must grow powerful while keeping his true strength hidden. Fortunately, he possesses a broken cheat skill that lets him rewrite the literal names of his abilities, turning basic farming into a god-tier power that can fuse monsters together. But with jealous rivals constantly trying to expose him, a single mistake could paint a target on his back for the most dangerous factions in the world. Can he keep his dual F-rank identity hidden while building an unstoppable monster army? Or will his secret be exposed to the entire world? On a crowded train, heading toward a giant glowing fissure in the sky, a high school senior named Jiang Yan suddenly gasps for air. His heart hammers against his ribs as he looks around. Everything is incredibly familiar. This is the Nanrong Demon Rift Station, and today is Awakening Day. Jiang Yan realizes he has actually traveled back in time. He is exactly 2.5 years away from the day his entire city is completely wiped off the map. To understand why this day is so important, you have to look at the sky. 12 years ago, massive portals called demon rifts tore open across the world, unleashing waves of monstrous, winged beasts. Humanity tried to fight back with tanks, jets, and nuclear weapons, but they quickly realized modern technology completely stops working inside the rifts due to magical interference. Humans were defenseless, but then they discovered a miracle. At age 18, anyone who gets close to a rift can go through an awakening. This process grants people unique classes and powerful skills to fight back. Over time, society split into 3 strict tiers. At the top are combat classes, like swordsmen and mages. In the middle are support classes, like healers. At the very bottom are crafting classes, who are treated as mere manual laborers. In his past life, Jiang Yan awakened a useless F-rank crafting class. But alongside it, he unlocked a broken, god-tier ability called Modify. This talent allowed him to change a single letter in the name of any skill or item, turning useless trash into legendary divine gear. But having that kind of power was a curse. When powerful factions found out, they locked him up, forced him to forge weapons for them, and kept him from growing too strong out of fear. When a colossal, level 96 dragon beast eventually attacked the city, his captors abandoned him to die in the flames. Facing certain death, Jiang Yan used his Modify skill on his own survival ability. He took his skill, Revive, and changed it to Rebirth. That single change sent his soul back in time. Now, staring out the window at the swirling blue vortex of the rift, Jiang Yan makes a silent promise. In this life, he won't let anyone exploit him. He will keep his ability a total secret, protect his family, and quietly grow strong enough to save his city from destruction. The train arrives at the Hunter Association, and hundreds of students pour into the Grand Plaza. Jiang Yan is already a celebrity among his peers. He is the top student in both academics and combat, born with a perfect 100% mana affinity. His classmates whisper in envy, while a rival named Yang Hongwei sneers, hoping the genius fails. After all, having high mana doesn't guarantee a great class. The official calls Jiang Yan to the stage. He walks up and places his hands on a glowing crystal sphere. Purple runes flare up, and a bright blue screen appears. His class is revealed, Repairman. It is an F-rank crafting class. Immediately, the crowd erupts into laughter and mockery. Yang Hongwei laughs hysterically, thrilled to see the school's top genius fall to the very bottom of society. Even the teachers look on in pity. But before Jiang Yan can step down, the crystal sphere flashes violently. The official gasps in shock. The sphere is reacting a second time, which means Jiang Yan is awakening a dual class. Dual classes are incredibly rare, usually reserved for legendary heroes. The crowd goes quiet, waiting for a miracle. Then, the screen updates with his second class, Farmer. Another F-rank crafting class. The silence shatters into even louder mockery. A dual class user who managed to get 2 of the worst crafting classes in history. To everyone else, Jiang Yan is now the biggest joke in the school. But Jiang Yan isn't upset. He quietly steps down, hiding a confident smile. His F-rank Repairman class gave him his past life cheat skill, Modify, and his Farmer class gave him a basic talent called Growth Boost, which merely speeds up plant growth. As he walks away, Jiang Yan quietly channels his mana. He activates Modify and targets his status screen. With a simple mental command, he rewrites his useless farming skill, transforming Growth Boost into Revive. Just like that, he secretly obtains a legendary survival tool. Looking up at the giant stone pillar displaying the freshman rankings, Jiang Yan's eyes burn with determination. He knows the top spot on the leaderboard receives unimaginable resources. He doesn't care if the world thinks he is trash. He is going to take first place, dominate both rankings, and show everyone what a dual F-rank can really do. To get the best possible start, Jiang Yan heads straight to the city's modern training base. This facility is a highly controlled environment designed to let rookies level up safely against weak, captive-bred monsters. But Jiang Yan isn't just looking for safety. Clearing this dungeon quickly earns bonus points for the upcoming college entrance tournament. If he can shatter the current record, his admission to a top-tier university is practically guaranteed. At the entrance, the base official looks over Jiang Yan's files with pity. To them, he is a tragic anomaly, someone who placed first in both academics and combat, only to awaken 2 useless F-rank professions. The instructors gently suggest he find a party to carry him, but Jiang Yan politely declines. Out of sympathy, one of them hands him a basic level 1 iron sword and a pair of leather boots. They assume he is just struggling to accept his harsh new reality. Jiang Yan accepts the gear with a polite smile, but the moment he steps into the dark corridor of the dungeon, his expression sharpens. He knows they are looking down on him, but their pity is about to become his greatest advantage. Making sure he is out of sight, he activates his innate skill, Modify. With a brief flash of light, the basic iron sword warps into a high-grade steel sword, and the humble leather boots transform into wind boots that grant a massive speed boost. He easily could have modified them into legendary weapons, but the dungeon has surveillance cameras. In his past life, exposing his true talents too early cost him everything. For now, subtle upgrades are more than enough. Stepping onto the vast training grounds, Jiang Yan looks past the basic zones and sets his eyes on the dark, eerie forest of the boss zone. To shatter the clear record, he has to defeat the boss of this dungeon, the level 5 Charging Rabbit King. His immediate goal is to slay at least 100 monsters and reach level 5. That is the minimum requirement to unlock the next grinding spot, the terrifying Cyclone Wolf Base. If he can push himself all the way to level 10 there, he will unlock a legendary, god-tier skill capable of creating ultimate demonic beasts. As a horde of crystal-armored rabbits lunges at him, Jiang Yan leaps into action, his newly modified weapons humming with energy. Meanwhile, back at the city's Awakening Plaza, Jiang Yan's old rival is preparing for his own ceremony. Yang Hongwei has spent years playing second fiddle to Jiang Yan, and he is desperate for a win. As he steps onto the platform, a radiant, winged emblem of a berserker erupts above him. The system registers him as an A-rank combat class. Yang Hongwei laughs triumphantly, fully embracing his new status as the class's top genius. Surrounded by a crowd of flattering classmates, he decides to head straight to the training base. He is eager to find Jiang Yan and rub his newfound superiority in his face. However, another classmate is watching them leave. Wang Qingfeng, a purple-haired prodigy who ranked just behind Jiang Yan, knows exactly how hard Jiang Yan pushes himself. Having been thoroughly humbled by Jiang Yan in the past, he refuses to let a loudmouth like Yang Hongwei ruin his rival. Smirking, Wang Qingfeng decides to follow them to make sure no one interferes with Jiang Yan's path. Deep inside the dungeon forest, Jiang Yan sits on a rock, catching his breath. He has successfully defeated over 100 monsters, but his body is exhausted and heavily bruised. Just as he checks his status, the shadows part to reveal the level 5 Charging Rabbit King. Jiang Yan is still at level 4 and far too injured to clash with the beast head-on. As the monster charges forward, its elemental crystal armor glowing with fire for a devastating headbutt, Jiang Yan realizes he doesn't need to fight physical strength with physical strength. He simply points his finger and activates Modify on the beast's own incoming attack. In an instant, the system alters the skill. The Charging Rabbit King's Flame Headbutt is forcibly rewritten into Flame Headburst. Instead of launching a physical strike, the beast's crystal armor violently detonates, blowing its own head apart in a massive explosion of fire and debris. With the boss defeated, Jiang Yan absorbs the experience and successfully reaches level 5. Outside the dungeon, the digital scoreboard flickers, announcing that the novice clear record has been completely shattered, shaving off more than half the previous time. Yang Hongwei arrives just in time to see the screen. Consumed by jealousy, he immediately accuses Jiang Yan of cheating and vows to expose him. But inside the dungeon, Jiang Yan is already moving on. Enveloped in a soothing green aura, his regeneration skill quickly mends his wounds. He stands up, slinging his steel sword over his shoulder. He has conquered this stage, but the next zone is the Cyclone Wolf Base, home to a ruthless beast that pushed him to his absolute limits in his past life. This time, Jiang Yan is ready to settle the score. Jiang Yan stands before the towering gates of the Cyclone Wolf Base. To most rookies, this zone is a complete nightmare. While normal freshmen are only between level 1 and 5, the beasts inside this dungeon range from level 6 to 9, ruled by a terrifying level 10 boss. For an ordinary hunter, entering this place alone is practically suicide. But Jiang Yan has a very specific goal. Clearing this base completely will yield enough experience to propel him straight to level 10 in a single run, a feat that normally takes 10 days of grueling grinding. And hitting level 10 is crucial, because that is when a hunter awakens their second innate skill. At the registration counter, the supervising official looks at Jiang Yan with pure disbelief. Usually, even high-level freshmen demand a full party of 6 before setting foot inside. Recalling how previous geniuses were nearly torn to pieces here, the official scoffs, mocking Jiang Yan as a useless dual F-rank hunter who is simply looking to die. But Jiang Yan doesn't care. He simply smiles, thanks the supervisor for his concern, and walks down the dimly lit corridor toward the arena. He has no intention of letting the insults of others slow down his path to strength. As he steps into the sunlit, dusty ruins, two massive wolves instantly lunge at him with glowing red eyes. Jiang Yan draws his blade and charges directly into the fray. Up on the observation deck, the mocking official waits to watch him fail, laughing at what he thinks is suicidal arrogance. But his smugness quickly vanishes. Jiang Yan moves like a blur, cutting through the beasts with precise, effortless strikes. He doesn't even need to use his special abilities. His raw combat instincts are more than enough to slaughter the pack. Realizing he has severely underestimated the boy, the official panics and slips away to avoid being humiliated. Before long, Jiang Yan stands victorious atop a mountain of defeated wolves. He has reached level 9, but the battle has taken a toll. His clothes are torn, and his body is covered in sweat. Even though his regeneration skill has quickly closed his physical wounds, the phantom pain of the attack still burns intensely. Jiang Yan grits his teeth, pulling his sword from the ground. He knows that if he wants to change his destiny, this level of pain is nothing. That is when a massive shadow looms over the arena. The Cyclone Wolf King has arrived. As a level 10 boss, this giant beast has dark, spiky fur and a glowing gem on its forehead that allows it to manipulate the wind. It possesses two deadly skills, Wind Speed and Wind Blade Claw. Jiang Yan quickly analyzes the beast, but realizes its skills are too complex to safely modify without risking a system error. He will have to defeat this boss the old-fashioned way. Stripping off his ruined shirt, he prepares to rely on the combat skills that made him the top academic and physical student in his class. He leaps high into the air, clashing head-on with the roaring beast. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, the atmosphere is tense. A group of exhausted students collapses near the basic training base, barely surviving their own trials. Among them is Yang Hongwei, who is harboring a growing sense of frustration. Even with a full party, he couldn't manage to clear the basic boss zone. He is convinced that Jiang Yan must have cheated to get his record. Just then, the massive digital scoreboard above them flashes with a sudden update. Jiang Yan has not only cleared his current dungeon, but he has also shattered the previous record, finishing in just 29 minutes and 8 seconds, and jumping over 300,000 places in the rankings. Consumed by rage, Yang Hongwei rallies his followers, intending to publicly expose Jiang Yan as a fraud the moment he exits. But back inside the depths of the wolf base, the battle is already over. With a final, decisive strike, Jiang Yan drives his blade straight through the Wolf King's skull, officially reaching level 10. Immediately, the system sounds, announcing that he can now awaken his second set of innate skills. Because he possesses dual F-rank classes, he receives two new abilities, the Artisan skill Durability and the Farmer skill Plant Grafting. At first glance, Plant Grafting seems useless for combat, but Jiang Yan has the ultimate cheat. He immediately activates his Modify skill, targeting the newly acquired Farmer ability. In an instant, the system rewrites the code, transforming the basic plant grafting into a god-tier skill called All Things Grafting. Normally, beast tamers use rare scrolls to form contracts with demonic beasts, but they can only make minor improvements to their creatures. With All Things Grafting, those biological limits no longer exist. Jiang Yan can now fuse the traits of entirely different monsters together, creating incredibly powerful, hybrid beasts that should be impossible to exist. Standing under the open sky, Jiang Yan lifts his blade, his eyes filled with absolute determination. In his past life, his enemies used and exploited his talents for their own gain. This time, he will take those very same powers and turn them into his own unstoppable strength. Jiang Yan stands in the middle of the barren, reddish-orange desert sand, resting his massive weapon over his shoulder. The blood of the giant wolves he just defeated stains his bare chest. Around his feet lie the beasts' motionless bodies. The battle is over, and it has been a highly successful run. But the best part is yet to come. Jiang Yan bends down and picks up a rare magic crystal. In the city, a crystal like this would sell for a small fortune because it can be used to add powerful attribute effects to weapons and armor. There is just one catch. Any loot found inside this novice training base belongs entirely to the Hunter Association. Since he has just reached level 10, Jiang Yan knows his days of handing over his hard-earned loot are over. Once he reaches level 10, he can finally enter the wild areas outside the Demon Rift. In those untamed lands, whatever resources or crystals he finds will belong completely to him. His crippling financial troubles are finally about to end. But as he walks toward the exit, a sudden, burning pain shoots through his chest. He winces, clutching his bare torso. It is a severe wound, but because it is not fatal, his revive skill will not trigger to heal it. Getting medical treatment at a hospital is out of the question because it costs a fortune he simply does not have. This leaves Jiang Yan with a bizarre, logical dilemma. He wonders if he should simply end his own life to force his revive skill to trigger and heal him for free. However, looking around, he sees base knights patrolling the area in protective gear. If he commits suicide right in front of them, it will cause a massive scene. He decides he needs to find a secluded spot near the exit to quietly end his life and trigger the skill in secret. But his plan falls apart the moment he steps through the main gate. Instead of a quiet corner, Jiang Yan walks straight into a massive crowd of students gathered in the plaza beneath the towering skyscrapers. Before he can slip away, a student spots his bloodied, shirtless figure and points him out. Word spreads instantly that he is the freshman who just shattered the dungeon's speed clear record. Senior students have gathered specifically to see the person who broke the record. Now, Jiang Yan is trapped. If he uses his revive skill here, everyone will see it and discover his secret. He needs to find a way to escape the crowd, but his injuries are getting worse by the second. Suddenly, a brilliant green light cuts through the crowd. An angelic figure with large golden wings descends from above, scattering sparkling particles over the plaza. It is Yao Kexin, a member of the incredibly powerful and prestigious Yao family. She possesses an S-rank support class known as Holy Angel. As the warm, glowing light washes over Jiang Yan, the agonizing pain in his chest completely vanishes. S-rank healing magic is incredibly efficient, and Jiang Yan is deeply grateful. Since he currently lacks a healing ability of his own, he realizes that building a relationship with her could be incredibly useful in the future. He thanks her and promises to repair her combat gear for her whenever it breaks. But the peaceful moment does not last. A harsh, mocking voice cuts through the crowd. Jiang Yan turns to see his longtime rival, Yang Hongwei, pushing his way forward. Yang Hongwei points at him and shouts to the crowd that Jiang Yan's record-breaking run was a complete sham. He reveals to everyone that Jiang Yan is actually a double F-rank class user. Rank classes are basic, crafting classes with absolutely zero combat capabilities. The crowd murmurs in shock. It should be physically impossible for an F-rank crafter to clear the novice dungeon solo, let alone break a record. Yang Hongwei exploits the crowd's confusion, accusing Jiang Yan of buying overpowered equipment using stolen financial aid money meant for poor students. The onlookers quickly turn hostile, whispering in disgust. Jiang Yan remains completely calm. He knows exactly what his rival is trying to do. When Jiang Yan asks what it will take to prove his innocence, Yang Hongwei demands a duel. He wants Jiang Yan to strip off his powerful equipment and fight him. If Jiang Yan wins barehanded, it will prove he did not cheat. A classmate steps forward and begs Jiang Yan to ignore the provocation, but Jiang Yan refuses to back down. He knows that if he does not deal with Yang Hongwei right here, the bully will continue to interfere with his plans to grow stronger. Yang Hongwei laughs arrogantly and activates his combat class. He is an A-rank berserker, and a terrifying aura of red flames erupts from his body. This is his berserk skill, which drains 1% of his life force every minute in exchange for a massive 30% boost to his strength, speed, and defense. As the crimson flames rage around the berserker, Jiang Yan stands barefoot on the cold ground, wearing only his simple school trousers. He does not show a single hint of fear. He cracks his wrists to loosen his joints and raises his fists. He is ready to show everyone that a truly strong warrior does not need a flashy combat class to crush his enemies. Yang Hongwei lunges forward with a thunderous kick, his body blazing with that terrifying crimson aura. But Jiang Yan stands his ground, barefoot and completely calm. Nearby, a classmate watches in absolute horror. To everyone else, this is suicide. An A-rank berserker is fighting an F-rank crafter barehanded, but Jiang Yan has a very good reason for discarding his weapons. If he used his modified steel sword or wind boots, the Academy's surveillance would immediately detect his impossible stats. Fighting barehanded is the only way to keep his secrets safe. Yang Hongwei sneers and hurls a devastating punch straight at his face. To his utter disbelief, Jiang Yan simply tilts his head, letting the fist graze past him. Furious, the berserker unleashes a frantic storm of rapid punches, sending shockwaves through the plaza. Yet, Jiang Yan glides through the fists like a leaf in the wind. A-rank classes are powerful, but no attack matters if it cannot land. The moment Yang Hongwei overextends, Jiang Yan spots a massive opening. He pivots and slams his bare fist directly into the berserker's chest. The air is knocked clean out of Yang Hongwei, and he collapses to the ground, completely unconscious. The surrounding crowd falls into stunned silence. An F-rank crafter just defeated one of the school's strongest combatants with a single punch. Jiang Yan ignores the whispers, picks up his discarded sword, and walks away. He wants to head into the wilderness soon, but first, he needs proper equipment to use as a base for his modification skill. There is just one problem. He pulls out his coin pouch and finds only 2 measly coins. Even browsing the cheapest stalls is going to be difficult. Suddenly, a heavy hand claps down on his shoulder. Jiang Yan's reflexes kick in, and he instantly spins to block the arm. He relaxes when he sees the smirk of his classmate, Wang Qingfeng. Wang is a wealthy, second-generation student who has been Jiang Yan's academic and combat rival for 3 years. He tosses Jiang Yan a cold soda, remembering how Jiang Yan defeated him in their first year. Ever since then, Wang has forfeited their matches, secretly allowing Jiang Yan to take the first-place scholarship. But things are different now. With the National Freshman Tournament approaching, Wang promises he will not hold back this time. Before leaving, Wang tosses Jiang Yan 2 black credit cards worth 2,000 credits. In exchange, he asks for Jiang Yan's strategy guide on how to clear the whirlwind wolf monster quickly. It is a generous gesture, and Jiang Yan promises himself he will repay the favor tenfold. Now that he has some money, Jiang Yan heads down a narrow, shadowy alleyway away from the city's high-tech skyscrapers. This is the Black Market Street, a gritty place filled with shady dealers selling cheap gear. Most of the items here are junk, but Jiang Yan knows his modification skill can turn trash into treasure. He stops at a stall selling used weapons. The vendor points out a glowing blue sword called the Demonfall Blade. It is an E+ rank weapon, but because its durability is low, the vendor wants 18,000 credits for it, which is far more than Jiang Yan can afford. Instead, Jiang Yan spots a dull, ordinary bronze sword priced at 5,000 credits. An ingenious plan forms in his mind. Jiang Yan offers a deal. He will repair the vendor's expensive Demonfall Blade for free if the vendor lets him keep the cheap bronze sword. To prove he can do it, Jiang Yan summons a soft, glowing orb of blue energy in his hand, activating his repair ability. The vendor is stunned, but he has no idea what Jiang Yan is actually planning. Jiang Yan never cared about the expensive blue blade. His true target was the ordinary bronze sword all along. With his modification skill, he can alter a single character in the sword's name. By changing the word bronze to steel, the cheap blade will transform into a rare azure steel sword. And once he has that, he can use his power to turn it into a legendary, god-tier weapon. The street vendor leans back, looking at Jiang Yan with a condescending smirk. He asks how an F-rank artisan-class repairman could possibly fix a weapon's durability. In this world, restoring durability is incredibly difficult. Once a weapon breaks completely, it is gone forever. To fix it, a craftsman needs to sense the magic power flowing deep within the weapon. Even the vendor, who is a D-rank blacksmith, cannot guarantee a successful repair. To make matters worse, if a repair fails, the weapon's durability drops even lower. That is why the vendor makes a harsh deal. If Jiang Yan fails, he must pay 18,000 credits. A small crowd gathers to watch the gamble unfold. Among them is Yao Kexin, a girl with long purple hair, who watches with concern. She knows the vendor is right. Even the high-ranking professionals in her wealthy family's guild struggle with durability repairs. But Jiang Yan remains calm. He focuses his magic power, recalling his past life. Back then, he successfully repaired top-tier weapons for some of the most powerful figures in the world. While most F-rank repairmen give up, Jiang Yan spent his entire previous life perfecting this single skill. For him, fixing a low-level weapon is simple. He guides his energy deep into the blade, and within seconds, the cracks on the metal vanish. The Demonfall Blade is fully restored. The crowd gasps in disbelief, and Yao Kexin stares at him in shock. Overwhelmed with gratitude, the vendor hands over the ordinary bronze sword just as promised. But Jiang Yan has a much bigger plan. He uses his unique modification skill to alter the weapon's name. By changing the characters, he transforms the cheap blade into the legendary Azure Jar Sword. This was a legendary weapon once carried by an ancient divine general who famously tore through entire armies. Holding his new weapon, Jiang Yan feels a massive sense of relief. College tuition is expensive, and ever since his parents passed away, he has been desperate to secure a stable future for his grieving little sister. Just then, Yao Kexin approaches him with a surprising request. She asks to hire him to help her level up, offering 50,000 credits. Jiang Yan checks her status and realizes she is an S-rank holy angel, currently at level 0. Seeing an easy way to make money, he immediately agrees. To show her appreciation, Yao Kexin buys the newly repaired Demonfall Blade from the vendor for 25,000 credits, pulling out a rare storage ring that proves she comes from an incredibly wealthy family. She struggles to lift the heavy blue sword and presents it to Jiang Yan as a gift. Jiang Yan realizes she is surprisingly polite for a wealthy lady and happily accepts the second weapon. He knows that helping a high-potential S-rank support like her will bring massive benefits in the future. Without wasting any time, they head to the training base. Inside, Jiang Yan becomes a blur of motion. He swings his swords, easily wiping out swarms of monsters. As they push deeper, Yao Kexin's level rapidly rises. Outside the base, their classmates watch the public scoreboards in absolute shock. Jiang Yan is breaking records again, and this time, he is carrying a girl from the legendary Dali Chamber of Commerce. Soon, Yao Kexin is close to level 10, but she is completely exhausted. Jiang Yan is now level 13, and he knows this is the perfect time to push further. Since he has a powerful S-rank support by his side, he wants to challenge a much tougher area, the Netherflame Boar base. This is the only rookie base with a dangerous C-class rating. Inside the command center, the base instructors watch the screens with deep worry, knowing how dangerous this place can be. But Jiang Yan believes that taking big risks is the only way to find great opportunities. The security gates hum open, and the two step into a misty, glowing forest. Strangely, there are no regular monsters around. Jiang Yan explains that this entire base only has a single boss. Suddenly, the ground trembles violently, and rocks begin to float into the air. From the thick mist, A massive creature with glowing blue eyes and razor-sharp claws emerges, letting out a terrifying roar. Yao Kexin steps back in fear, but Jiang Yan simply grins. Drawing both of his glowing swords, he steps forward, ready for a real challenge. The massive beast before them is the Netherflame Boar King, a level 15 boss covered in magical blue flames that burn up to 200 degrees Celsius. Facing such a deadly monster, Jiang Yan doesn't hesitate. He tells Yao Kexin to get ready to support him with her healing spell, Holy Light, while he leaps forward to strike first. Jiang Yan aims directly for the monster's neck, using gravity to add extra power to his swords. But the creature is surprisingly smart. It leaps into the air, blocking the blow with its heavily armored skull. The impact forces Jiang Yan back to the ground. He realizes a normal attack won't easily pierce this beast's defense. But since the boar is still suspended in midair, he has a split second to act. Jiang Yan activates his unique modification skill. In an instant, he targets his weapon, the Scion Steel Sword. By changing just a single letter, the basic blade is modified into the Scion Steel Sword. This subtle change completely breaks the weapon's limits, multiplying Jiang Yan's attack power by 5 and adding massive armor penetration. With a single, devastating swing, Jiang Yan releases a massive wave of energy that cuts deep into the Boar King's side, completely severing one of its hardest tusks. To keep his secret safe, Jiang Yan immediately uses his skill again to revert the weapon back to its original name. He cannot let Yao Kexin discover his ability. But even without knowing the truth, Yao Kexin is completely stunned. She assumes that his incredible strength is purely due to his superior combat techniques, unable to believe that an ordinary, low-ranked sword could cause such massive destruction. Jiang Yan notices her staring in awe, but the battle isn't over yet. He calls out, reminding her to cast Holy Light. If he defeats the boss alone, she won't receive any experience points. Snapping out of her shock, Yao Kexin quickly casts her spell. A warm golden light wraps around Jiang Yan, healing his minor scrapes and boosting his status. With his strength restored, Jiang Yan looks at his other weapon, the Demonfall Saber. He briefly wonders if he should modify its name too, perhaps to something legendary like the Godfall Saber. However, he decides against it, knowing that rewriting names carries dangerous risks. It is better to play it safe. Suddenly, the wounded Boar King erupts in a massive wave of blue fire, preparing to unleash its ultimate charging skill. Jiang Yan remains completely calm. To ensure Yao Kexin doesn't witness his next move, he tells her to close her eyes. Trusting him, she squeezes her eyes shut. With his secret safe, Jiang Yan activates his modification skill once again. Instead of modifying his own weapon, he targets the monster's charging skill. By changing a single letter, the terrifying Netherfire Wild Charge is modified into a Netherfire Mild Charge. Instantly, the roaring flames die down, and the massive beast slows to an absolute crawl. It is completely harmless. With a clean, effortless slash, Jiang Yan finishes off the beast. The system confirms the defeat, and a massive wave of experience points washes over them. Jiang Yan instantly rises to level 15. Thanks to the shared party experience, Yao Kexin jumps 3 levels, reaching level 12. When she opens her eyes and sees the giant beast defeated, her respect for Jiang Yan grows even deeper. Jiang Yan quietly appreciates how cooperative she is, recognizing her as an invaluable teammate for future party dungeons. He tells her that their leveling contract is successfully complete. As they prepare to leave, Yao Kexin stops him. Grateful for his help, she hands him a glowing, beautifully crafted ring. Jiang Yan is stunned to realize it is a spatial ring, an incredibly rare and expensive artifact that allows its user to store items inside an isolated pocket dimension. Knowing how valuable it is, Jiang Yan initially tries to refuse, but Yao Kexin insists he deserves it. Accepting the legendary ring, Jiang Yan looks her in the eyes and promises that in exchange for this generous gift, he will grant her one unconditional favor in the future. With their training wrapped up for the day, Jiang Yan and Yao Kexin step out of the glowing forest. As they make their way back, Jiang Yan's mind drifts to the city's freshman-level rankings. This year, the competition is incredibly fierce. When they pass the city's main plaza, a massive glowing ranking board catches their attention. Sitting firmly at the very top of the list is Jiang Yan at level 15. The surrounding crowd is buzzing with excitement because their city has produced an unusually high number of elite talent this year. But Jiang Yan remains realistic. He knows he won't stay in first place for long. The classmates right behind him on the leaderboard have all awakened top-tier, high-ranking classes. There is Li Yufeng, a brilliant student who unlocked the legendary S-rank Sword Saint class. Then there is Zhang Hong, an unbeatable close combat fighter with the A-rank Blazing Fist class. And finally, there is Lu Yuan, a deadly S-rank Gale assassin. In his previous life, these 3 were legendary figures. If Jiang Yan wants to become the ultimate champion of the city, he will have to defeat every single one of them. Before he can worry about his rivals, Jiang Yan has a much more important destination. He needs to go home. In his past life, the moment powerful organizations discovered his god-tier editing skill, they took him away and forced him to work in captivity. He never saw his home again, and his younger sister was forced to grow up completely alone. Now that he has been reborn, he is determined to protect her and correct the regrets of his past. After saying goodbye to Yao Kexin, Jiang Yan walks down a quiet alleyway and heads up to his modest apartment. Waiting inside is his 15-year-old sister, Jiang Yao. Ever since their parents tragically passed away in the dangerous spatial portals known as the Demon Rift, she has become quiet and withdrawn. As they sit down for a humble dinner, the silence is heavy. Jiang Yao suddenly looks up from her plate and makes a shocking announcement. She wants to quit school. Jiang Yan is stunned. His sister has straight A's in both her studies and combat training, so quitting makes no sense. He knows she is hiding something. Before she can explain, the front door handle clicks open. A stressed, exhausted man steps inside, holding a blue folder. This is Uncle Quan, the owner of a local emergency loan company. Over the past 2 years, the siblings have relied entirely on loans from him just to survive. Everything suddenly clicks for Jiang Yan. His sister saw him reach the top of the freshman rankings, but she also knew they were buried in debt with no source of income. She was willing to sacrifice her own bright future to work and support him. Determined to put her mind at ease, Jiang Yan steps forward and asks Uncle Quan for the final balance. The total debt is 43,000. Without hesitation, Jiang Yan pulls out a thick stack of cash from his pocket and hands over 50,000, telling Quan to keep the change as interest. Uncle Quan is stunned, quickly pocketing the money and leaving the siblings alone. Jiang Yao is in absolute shock, demanding to know how her brother got so much money. Jiang Yan gently pats her head with a warm smile, reassuring her that he earned it legally with his own abilities. He tells her that she no longer has to worry about money. He promises to become the top scorer in the upcoming college entrance exams, which awards a massive prize of 300,000. Overwhelmed with relief, Jiang Yao bursts into tears and hugs him tightly, promising to work hard and never disgrace their family name. Now that his family is secure, Jiang Yan needs to focus on his next move. To stay ahead of his powerful rivals, he must find a way to level up and make money at the same time. The perfect location lies just outside the safe zones, deep within the untamed areas of the Demon Rift. His target is Poison Dragon Valley, a highly dangerous canyon filled with lethal mist and deadly beasts. This hazardous valley is rumored to hide a rare dragon-type magical beast. If Jiang Yan can successfully find a dragon egg, he can use his unique grafting skill to create an incredibly powerful companion. On top of that, he can harvest rare magic crystals to sell for a fortune. With absolute determination, Jiang Yan prepares for the journey, ready to turn this deadly canyon into his first step toward conquering the world. The bus intercom crackles as it pulls into the Nanrong Demon Rift station. Looking up, the sky is a swirling vortex of deep red and black, marking the massive spatial anomaly known as the Demon Rift. To reach the uncharted wilderness, Jiang Yan has to pass through this entrance. He steps off the bus and enters Nanrong Rift City, a towering, neon-lit human stronghold built inside the rift itself to act as humanity's front line of defense against demonic invasions. All around the city square, wealthy hunters are equipping expensive battle gear. Jiang Yan looks at their armor and shakes his head. Compared to the spatial ring Yao Kexin gave him, their high-end gear looks like cheap junk. He has to admit, that wealthy girl really is incredibly loaded. He makes his way toward the East Gate, which is the fastest route to his destination, Poison Dragon Valley. According to the region map, the beasts there are only between level 13 and 18, making it the perfect spot for him to level up quickly. As he approaches the guard post, the young guard on duty looks at his student ID in disbelief. He sees that Jiang Yan is registered as a dual F-rank farmer and repairman. The guard warns him that entering the wilderness alone is incredibly dangerous and people die out there. Jiang Yan politely takes back his card and promises he will return alive. He lunges forward, reaching out to grab Jiang Yan by the shoulder to stop him. With a fluid, effortless motion, Jiang Yan simply sways to the side, letting the heavy grip pass harmlessly through the air. The captain freezes in absolute shock. He is a high-level fighter, yet this kid easily dodged him. Before the captain can move again, another guard frantically grabs his arm. He explains that this kid is the legendary Jiang Yan, the dual F-rank student who shattered the rookie training base records. The surrounding guards watch in awe as Jiang Yan walks through the glowing gate, whispering about how he is predicted to be the top scorer in the upcoming exams. They cannot comprehend how an F-rank could pull off such impossible feats. Stepping through the gate, Jiang Yan enters Poison Dragon Valley. The canyon is dark and eerie, filled with barren trees under a swirling green sky. But the environment itself is not the only threat. A thick, toxic mist blankets the area. To survive, Jiang Yan pulls out a small blue capsule. These antidote pills cost $50 each and only last 3 hours, meaning he is on a strict time limit. Since he is completely broke, he needs to make every single second count. Suddenly, 3 dark, reptilian shapes drop from the branches. They are poison-winged lizards, level 13 beasts. Smiling, Jiang Yan draws his sword and unleashes a flurry of blue energy slashes, effortlessly cutting them down. To speed up his grinding, he activates his unique modify skill to optimize his sword, making it far more lethal. He tears through the canyon, slaughtering lizards, toads, and bats in rapid succession. A wave of energy washes over him as he levels up, reaching level 18. Exhausted, he sits on a mossy rock to catch his breath. Despite all the fighting, he is frustrated. Not a single rare mana crystal has dropped, and his luck today seems terrible. Suddenly, a voice calls out from the mist. Two figures step forward. The leader is Lu Yuan, a powerful S-rank Gale assassin and the heir to one of the most influential families in the city. His arrogant lackey immediately demands respect, but Jiang Yan remains completely unfazed. When Lu Yuan offers to team up, Jiang Yan flatly refuses. He has no interest in carrying dead weight or sharing his experience, so he simply walks past them. The lackey is furious, but Lu Yuan watches him disappear into the fog, highly intrigued by this unusual F-rank student. Jiang Yan leaps through the trees, keeping an eye on the clock. He only has one antidote pill left, so his goal is to hit level 19 and head back. But the quiet forest is suddenly shattered when a dark projectile flies out of the mist. Jiang Yan barely manages to deflect it with his sword, only for a massive, purple creature to leap down from the canopy. It is the Miasma Demon Toad King, a level 20 boss-tier beast. Jiang Yan strikes, but his sword clangs uselessly off its rubbery hide. The boss is incredibly durable, and it immediately unleashes its giant tongue skill, whipping it forward with terrifying speed. Jiang Yan smiles, seeing this as his chance to get a rare mana crystal. He activates his modify skill, but instead of upgrading his weapon, he targets the boss's attack. He rewrites the skill, turning the giant tongue attack into a self-binding trap. The massive tongue suddenly wraps around the monster's own body, locking it in place. Jiang Yan leaps into the air to deliver a finishing blow, but the boss activates its passive defensive skin, and his blade bounces off once again. Before he can strike a second time, a warning flashes before his eyes. Because the boss is at a higher level, the modification effect has expired, and the tongue unravels. Jiang Yan realizes the major drawback of his skill. When facing stronger enemies, the duration is drastically reduced and can fail at any moment. With the massive tongue coming down on him like a pillar, Jiang Yan knows he has to make a massive gamble. He pulls out his other weapon, the Demonfall Saber, and activates his modify skill. A blinding red light erupts, transforming the blade into the legendary Demon King Saber. Clad in crackling crimson energy, Jiang Yan grips the newly forged weapon, ready to unleash hell on the beast. Jiang Yan just made a massive gamble. By modifying his saber into a legendary blade, he unleashed a power far more dangerous than he anticipated. The weapon seems alive, with a giant, glowing red eye staring back at him from the center of the steel. A system warning immediately flashes in his vision. The sword is channeling the consciousness of a powerful entity known as the Seventh Demon King. Suddenly, a booming, malicious voice echoes directly inside Jiang Yan's head, demanding to know who dared to summon him. The pressure is immense, threatening to tear his muscles apart. But Jiang Yan has no choice. The giant Miasma Toad King is still charging, and he needs to end this fight right now. With a desperate battle cry, Jiang Yan thrusts forward, unleashing a devastating wave of crimson energy. The strike collides with the giant toad, triggering a massive, fiery explosion. But this incredible power comes with a terrible price. As the smoke clears, Jiang Yan collapses to his knees, gasping for breath. A red, spear-like projection of dark energy is sticking out of his back, a painful backlash from using the sword. The weapon completely drained his stamina in a single blow, but the danger is not over. A corrupting red energy begins to creep up his arms, eating away at his flesh. Pain surges through his body, and Jiang Yan realizes the sword is trying to consume him. He tries to activate his modification skill to stop it, but he is simply too exhausted. He collapses face down onto the rocky ground, unable to move. Above him, the shadowy consciousness of the Demon King manifests, mocking his weakness. The entity boasts that even a fraction of his power is enough to enslave the entire human race. But Jiang Yan is not panicking. Despite the pain, a cold resolve fills his eyes. He has dealt with these weapons before. In his previous life, an accidental summon of the 9th Demon King forced a legendary level 80 general to step in and save him. Because of that near-death experience, Jiang Yan knows exactly what to do. He gathers the absolute last of his strength and targets the golden armor of the blade's core. That is where the Demon King's consciousness is anchored. Jiang Yan channels a burst of energy directly into the core, triggering a bright explosion. The Demon King screams in fury as his consciousness begins to glitch and fade. As the dark presence vanishes, the painful erosion on Jiang Yan's arm finally stops. Once his stamina begins to recover, Jiang Yan uses his modification skill one more time. He renames the weapon to the Demon Meteor Blade, sealing the dark threat for good. With the danger past, he walks over to the giant carcass of the Miasma Toad King. The boss has dropped a level 20 magic crystal, which is worth a fortune. He quickly collects the crystal and the other monster materials, deciding to sell them on the black market for a much higher profit. Suddenly, his system interface lights up. Defeating both the boss and the dark entity rewarded him with a massive amount of experience points. Jiang Yan has jumped straight to level 20. Reaching this milestone unlocks a brand new ability called Pest Immunity. To anyone else, a farmer class skill like this would be useless. But Jiang Yan realizes he can use his modification skill to rewrite a single letter, changing Pest Immunity into Damage Immunity. Even with heavy restrictions, a skill that blocks all incoming damage is a legendary trump card. As Jiang Yan leaps through the forest branches on his way back, a sudden noise catches his attention. He stops and looks down to find a familiar figure waiting in the shadows. It is Liu Tao, a level 17 assassin working for his rival, Lu Yuan. Seeking an easy kill, Liu Tao activates his speed skill and lunges forward with his daggers. He expects an easy victory against an F-rank class, but Jiang Yan does not even flinch. With a swift, effortless slash of his sword, Jiang Yan blows the assassin backward. Liu Tao crashes into the dirt, coughing up blood and staring in utter terror. He cannot understand how someone with a trash class could possibly be this fast. Jiang Yan looks down at him calmly. In this world, class ranks do not guarantee victory if you lack combat sense and proper training. Before Jiang Yan can finish the encounter, a dark silhouette drops from the canopy above. Lu Yuan, the S-rank Gale assassin, strikes with a heavy downward blow. Jiang Yan effortlessly parries the attack, steel clashing against steel. The two step back, sizing each other up in the misty clearing. Lu Yuan wants to prove he is the strongest, while Jiang Yan sees a perfect opportunity to make a profit. Jiang Yan proposes a wager. The loser of their duel must hand over their weapon. Lu Yuan eagerly accepts the terms and activates his ultimate speed skill, Gale Stride, boosting his agility by 80%. Jiang Yan grips his sword, a confident smile spreading across his face. He is more than ready to claim his prize.